Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Inside Nigeria. Sorry, we apologize for bringing the program a bit behind schedule, just due to some circumstances beyond our control. My name is Junior Kwedibo, your host on the program. On this first segment of the program, we are looking at some select newspapers for review on their front cover stories. My name is Junior Kwedibo. Once again, and of course, as usual on the program, we like to flag up with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's go with leadership. Leadership today has a wraparound. There's the stories above it. We must build in Nigeria for generations unborn. Tinubu, of course, Nigeria is still in their first year anniversary move of the inauguration of this present administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And Tinubu is saying today, we must build in Nigeria for generations unborn. Says we have no choice, nobody will help us, declares Wike genuinely serving Nigerians, the headline story today on leadership. From that, we move to our stand, the page three of the paper. Our stand today is on Jonathan's intervention in Rivers crisis. Of course, there seems to be no end in Rivers State, led by Fubara Siminaye, and given the protracted crisis in the state, the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, waded in recently to for all warring parties to shift their sword. And of course, today's editorial is on Jonathan's intervention in Rivers State. From our stand, we move to the back page of the paper where we have Being Blunt with Mwazu Eliza. Mwazu Eliza is the General Managing Director of Leadership newspaper, and of course, today is writing on Goodbye to Royalty. Goodbye to Reality is the column of Mazu Eliza. Today is writing on the also the protracted crisis in Kano Royals too. These are stories, a column you will not want to miss. Just log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From leadership, we move to Daily Sun. Daily Sun, also like leadership, has a wraparound on its cover. Daily Sun's main headline story says insecurity, reps reject engagement of mercenaries. Insecurity, reps reject engagement of mercenaries. The main headline story on Daily Sun. Kano Emirate also, CJN summons FHC CJ. Kano CJ over conflicting orders. Tinubu signs bill returning old national anthem into law, says it portrays country's diversity, unity. The headline story today on Daily Sun newspaper. For continuation of these headline stories, you log on to the website of Daily Sun, www.sunnynewsonline.com. From Daily Sun, we move to This Day. This Day says NJC hosts emergency meeting next week over Kano Emirate to probe Chief Justice. Remember, Daily Sun says Kano Emirate also CJN, that is the Chief Justice of Nigeria, summons the Federal High Court CJ, that is the Chief Justice, and Kano Chief Justice over conflicting orders. And on this day says NJC hosts emergency meeting next week over Kano Emirate to probe Chief Justice. CJN summons FHC CJ, Kano CJ over conflicting court orders. NBA seeks disciplinary measures against culprits. Groups say their resistance is not political. The main headline story today on This Day newspaper. This is centered or based on the lingering royal tussle in Kano State. About this main headline story on this day, we have Tinubu directs free train ride for commuters on Abuja Metro Line service till end of 2024. Tinubu directs free train ride for commuters on Abuja Metro Line service till end of 2024. Says service to nation critical element of new national anthem. Reiterates his government's commitment to delivering on its promises. Inherited $30 million contract debt now paid to the contractor, CCECC. Another headline story on this day. We move to the stories above the masthead of this day newspaper. Dangote refinery moves Lagos London Stock Exchange listings. NNPC records 310 crude theft cases in 7 days. That is much. NNPC records 310 crude theft cases in 7 days. Lagos State government launches 15 locally built ferry boats to establish essential medicine agency. Also on this day newspaper. For continuation of these headlines, inside stories, the editorial, log on to the website of this day, www.thisdaylive.com. We move to the Guardian. Guardian is next on our menu, and Guardian's headline story just above the wraparound today, celebrating the present administration's 1 year in office. Knocks chairs for Tinubu over Nigeria we Haiti in quotes. The main headline story on the Guardian. New national anthem knocks chairs for Tinubu over Nigeria we Haiti. The story is on page 6 of the Guardian. Emirate also, CJN summons FHC Kano CJs. Nigerians dissatisfied with administration, lament pains of reforms. Minimum wage reconsiderate, minister tells organized labor. It will be recalled that the federal government upped its game by pegging the minimum wage at 60,000 naira, but the labor says no, they are insisting on 445,000 naira as minimum wage. And today's story, one of the headline stories on the Guardian says, minimum wage be considerate, minister takes organized labor. For continuation of these headline stories on the Guardian, log on to the website www.guardian.ng. And from the Guardian, we move to the last paper we have on our menu this Thursday, and that is the Punch. The Punch is punching with also same first anniversary story. Federal government plans supplementary budget once against foreign aid. Federal government plans supplementary budget once against foreign aid. And just beside the masthead of the Punch, Emirates also CJN summons judges over conflicting orders as Kano bans protest. 50,000 naira grant, 402,283 beneficiaries get 20 billion naira. The story runs on page 28 of the Punch newspaper, and that brings to an end the review of the Punch newspaper this Thursday and on this first segment of the show. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. So my name is Winifred, but don't forget to join us for the second part of the program. We'll be assessing this present administration's 1 year in office. Don't go away, stay tuned. Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, the program is Inside Nigeria, where we discussed headline stories on some select newspapers and some topical issues. My name is Winifred and I have my guest in the studio, my Thursday guest actually. He is a political affairs analyst, public affairs analyst. He's also a political economist, Olamileko Adefolari. Thank you so much.
Thanks
So
for
it's a
having
pleasure
me.
to have you program. Yes, it's 1 year already. How time flies. 1 year of the inauguration of this present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A lot has gone down the drain. Why many Nigerians are saying that the hope, it has been a hopeless 1 year. Many are still of the opinion that there's still so much for the present administration to do in order to renew the hope of Nigerians. So let's take, I want us to be taking by piecemeal some critical sectors of the economy and asking you how has the economy fared in this past 1 year during this present administration.
Very interesting period and a very interesting, anniversary for the president and his team. For them, it has been a success story, although with some challenges.
Okay, for the president and his team.
Yeah, it has been a success story. If you read through their lives, read through what they are pushing out on the media, discover that it has been a success story for them. But on the other hand, they also identified that there are challenges. But on the part of Nigerians, for Nigerians, it's not a success story at all. It has been from hunger to agony to frustration to lack and want, particularly with the policy of the government tackling the economy headlong has become something that has rather turned the economy against the people in a situation whereby, as I've said earlier on that different platform, that the policy has rather made more poor to be poor and make some certain individuals in our country to be rich, because there is no how when people are getting poorer, it means that certain individual groups are also getting richer in exchange for that. Although I'm not talking about rich people in terms of political appointees, I'm talking about people who own the means of production, because majorly they are the ones producing what we are consuming. So as government is increasing tax or increasing tariff on product they are producing, they are adding that to the cost of unit of their product and they are passing it to us. So we are paying for it, and they are paying for it, they are making profit. Apart from the tax they are paying to the government, they are also making more money for themselves as the owners of means of production. That is one wonder. Then the other hand, in terms of how governments have been able to carry out governance in the area of security, education, health, as well as issues that have to do with development, either at rural level, including food and agriculture, you discover that there is really a disconnection between the policy and the people. In a sense that, for instance, I was listening to the Minister of Agriculture and he said the government have been able to push out about 309 billion in this 1 year. Now, 309 billion to the agricultural sector, and we are suffering from poor harvesting.
Yes, look at tomatoes now. Tomatoes has become
exactly. We are suffering for commodity. Then we are also listening to Minister of Finance, and he was saying that the government have been able to attract a lot of foreign investment to the economy, as well as also aided the economy by giving certain money to certain people. I think one of the airlines talk about cash, conditional cash transfer over 402 million, thousand Nigerians have received 50,000. So, so even with all this being put in place, you see discovered a lot of the citizenry are still cut off from some of the benefits that this government policy is bringing out. Out of over 200 million, 402,000 people getting 50,000. And when they take that 50,000 to the market, inflationary pressure on the price of goods and services will consume. They talk about the health facilities, I talk about health in Nigeria. We still have challenges whereby we still have poor infrastructure in the health system. And the primary health care that the government said they are going to concentrate, we have not seen much in that regard. Then talk about business and investment. I was also listening to the Minister of Trade and Investment. Said the economy have been able to attract over 30 million US dollars to the economy. And you see, in which economy? The economy that is suffering from the digital, structural, and the rest of them. So we even as much as we clap for the government that okay, your effort is yielding some little achievement, but it's not as we expected, because the renewed hope that many Nigerians are hoping for that at least a mudu of gari will not go as high as 1,200 naira in the belief of the renewed hope. But as we speak today, they made the mudu of gari at 400 naira or 400 naira. They are taking it to 1,200 naira.
And there's another thing, because there's a statement, when that cybersecurity levy came up and that was starkly resisted by majority of Nigerians, the KPMG, an audit and management firm, they say that no country taxes itself, has ever taxed itself to prosperity. And we are seeing a situation whereby Nigerians, the tax is so much. And of course, this is where the main revenue is coming from, as attested to by the minister. What is happening? Is there something the government can do or undo economically?
Definitely.
Because economic situation is where the problem is, that is affecting everybody.
The foundation is
negatively.
Very correct. The foundation is most policy of economy in sub-Saharan Africa is always carry this kind of character. The policy will come on paper. The target is for the poor. The objective sometimes will now become an issue of a conflict of interest. I will explain it. When it becomes conflict of interest, the government really want to tackle the poor, make sure that the poor come out of poverty. But the level, the way they are going to implement the policy will cause the poor from coming out of poverty. A good example is this. Since 1999, we've been pushing money to alleviate poverty, How many people have even come out of the poverty?
No.
And when government want to implement that policy, you discover that it ends at the middle level of implementation, meaning that the public servant, civil servant, and the rest of people in the public, political appointees, politically exposed people, contractor, consultant, are the ones that enjoy most of the money that government releases into the economy. So the poor are left out. And when they say, okay, we are going to ensure that this policy go to the state level, the state governors will hijack the money, and the money will not go down as expected. Imagine when federal government say they have released certain amount of money to state government to buy rice, to buy this, to do this. How many of the people in the state, indigenous of those states, get those money? So at the end of the day, the policy is cut off. The people are disarticulated. The people are not part of what the government intended to do. But on paper, as we speak right now, the renewed hope of Tinubu, the target is the poor. But the objective is suffering from conflict of interest because political parties and their members also want to participate in those documents, in those release of those policies, and then it doesn't get to the people. As we speak right now, 402,000 Nigerians have been given 50,000 naira. Out of how many people?
Okay, do you know of any who has?
At least someone have said that his cousin collected, not directly, not himself, but someone said his cousin.
And his cousin is actually poor.
Are they poor? The essence of the money is to elevate certain things in the home, so that they can be able to get relief or buy one or two half bag of rice or whatever so that they can help themselves. What I'm trying to point out, most times the target is to ensure that the poverty alleviation is directed to the people who really need it. We end up that the people don't get it. You know, in the calculation of all the national social investment management systems, they say they have spent 20.1 billion in 1 month. You ask yourself, 402 people to how many people? And there are still challenges. And guess what? On the database of these people, 1,200,000 people register. So what I'm trying to put up right now is that at the end of the day, we have to the government, they have been able to solve the problem. But in the recent, the problem has not been solved.
Has not been solved. So what is the way forward? Because many people are of the opinion that the CBN is operating a voodoo economy. But we are seeing a situation whereby at the beginning of this month, in April, towards the April ending, dollar was actually appreciating against the dollar and other foreign currencies. But as we speak presently, it has gone up again.
Definitely,
it has depreciated again. What is going on?
I think the cause of that was because CBN.
And don't forget, the CBN governor denied when Bloomberg came up with the fact that they were using our foreign reserves to defend the naira.
Yes, definitely. Well, we have all
nothing of that sort.
Exactly.
So where are we?
The issue is this: in terms of the naira to dollar exchange, they have been able to clear the August people. They have been able to pay the backlog of people they are owing dollar. Now they are not selling dollar to naira to BDC at 1,200 naira. So BDC can only make between 20 naira to 30 naira on top. But the issue still remains that what is fueling this issue is that people will still pick that same dollar.
The dollar is about 1,500 naira.
That is not the official market.
Okay.
That is not. That one is BDC will sell at 1,230 to 1,000. That is the official. That is what they give. So if anybody say you went and buy 1,500, he didn't buy from the official market. He's buying outside the range of the official market. Because what the CBN have done is to put stringent measures on numbers of BDC that are giving $10,000 every week. So they are giving them money. You cannot sell beyond 2,000, 1,230 naira to 1,240 naira. So if you are buying at 1,005, you are not buying official. You are still buying from the illegal market within the system. So most times when we see this quoting of online or from ETZ, that illegal market, that black market, there are people are still quoting because that is the real market. But the one that is official is still the one that government is still pampering with fixing here and there. Now, why is it like 1,500 naira now what people are buying? Because the custom import rate is still between 1,003 to 1,005.
Exactly. So how did you know that that is how many people say that we are operating a voodoo economy? It's a situation whereby you've already paid dollar at 1,200 naira to a dollar, and at the same time customs is pegging that at about 1,400.
1,400, and that money is coming. That exchange is coming to CBN. What it means is this: when you import anything, although it's they say it's because of competitiveness of international trade, but because if you allow our custom duty to be too low, it means that people will be importing and government will be losing. So that's why they are making it. But on the other hand, we have discovered there is a connection between our exchange, our official exchange, and this custom rate. Because it is that rate that importers will take to black market and do their business. Then they will not, because of it has already been established that it is 1,400, 1,500 they are paying to custom. They will now use that to judge in terms of exchange. Because for CBN that we have to realize that the exchange now is now being controlled by the custom rate.
Yes, import rate. And
by the import rate that they are paying.
1,500.
Unless it comes down. Although we also understand the danger of bringing it down. But it would have, since they have now understood that this is what is happening, they can bring it down.
That is exactly what many people are saying, that maybe the CBN or the federal government expecting that things will magically just reset itself.
Another thing is that 1,500, 1,400 that they are paying is the biggest revenue that custom is enjoying and the federal government is getting. Because as you are paying that rate to custom, more revenue is coming to the government.
But the federal government is making so much money at the expense of its citizenry.
It is
supposed to cater
at
for.
All, and it's not supposed to be like that. We're supposed to be in the essence that let us have a homegrown policy that will help the economy to suppress all these inflationary pressure we are having. CBN have said that on their part, they are doing their monetary policy to ensure that inflationary pressure comes down. But they're also doing the mistake of this custom rate importation duty. Now, on the other part is the fiscal policy of government that doesn't address inflationary rate. When they talk about food inflation at 43, 45, who caused it? It's government. Government doesn't have control over food. They are not planting. They are not selling. So how do you now want to control food inflation? You have let it in the hand of people who are gouging price of food anyhow. Everybody just fixing price of food. Imagine people go and buy a basket of tomato 4,500 from the bush market, then bring it to the city center. They will give excuse of transportation, give excuse of insecurity, and sell it at 100,000 naira. Whose fault? How will government also have a tomato farm? You bring your tomato farm.
That's the situation we are having too. We see cows grazing. It's not as if they are importing feed
for them.
Yet a kilo of meat goes at 6,000 naira.
Definitely, because they too, they're also calculating the price of transportation. You now ask, is the cow consuming fuel? No.
Now, talking about transportation, sorry, I have to, because during the inauguration of President Tinubu, Tinubu did mention that in order to bring down the price of fuel, that is petroleum motor spirit, that they were refurbishing the petroleum Port Harcourt petroleum refinery.
Exactly.
A year till now. Actually, in the first instance, it gave December as target date.
Exactly.
They now extended it to February. Now, the full year of these administrations, 1 year in office, nothing of the sort.
It was because the government was not sincere. People working for the government was not sincere. Particularly NLPC was not sincere to the Tinubu government. The feasibility study they conducted and showed to the president was deceptive. You must say it. It was deceptive in the sense that they deceived the government and said, okay, in 6 months' time, you're finally working. 1 year now, down the drain, it's not your work. It means that the people working within the NNPC and the federal government presidency were deceptive. They deceived the government and they deceived Nigerian people. That has been established. Now, we now understand that the 3 refinery can work effectively next year, not just this year. The Port Harcourt refinery one, they say December. Now the other one they are saying next year, 2025. But we just hope that all these promises will be fulfilled, because the technicality of what is happening with these refineries was that the aim of the people in government is to sell those refineries. We must tell ourselves the truth. If not for the resistance from the labor union and just on that, don't sell. Even though Obasanjo sold it that time and it was reversed by Yar'Adua. Now they are still thinking that it will be sold. And that is the thinking that people are putting on. Don't be surprised that by the time this refinery work for like 2-3 months, so people will still bring the bidding.
Energy is very, very crucial if we are to at least stabilize the economy.
Exactly.
But it has effects, via effects on transportation.
Definitely.
Even energy,
production and the
rest of them. So if the refineries are still not working and Nigerians are still buying fuel at exorbitant, some states are buying fuel at 1,000 naira per liter.
Depending on the area. And most of this area,
I had a friend that was in Taraba and he said they were selling for 900, 1,000.
Definitely, because most of them, they will talk about differences between the transportation of those fuel all the way from Lagos or all the way from Suleja to those places. And they begin to calculate the cost.
So, Olamide, to round it up, what is the way out? Because Nigerians have not really fared the best of this administration during this 1 year. Economically, it has created so much chaos, hardship among the Nigerians. What is the way forward? What should the administration do or undo in its quest to move the nation forward?
The first thing is that let us remove the bureaucracy that normally hinder government policy from being implemented fully. if we have it on paper that it is the poor who are targeting, how can we get direct access to the poor and hand over some of the things we promise them and give them? Then we have to cut off bureaucracy, because it is bureaucracy that is even in some of those policies not to be implemented as expected. Now, in area of food, government doesn't control food. They don't have farm. So how can government begin to invest in its own farm? There was an agency created by Buhari, National Agricultural Land Development Agency. They created estates everywhere. Where are the food that those estates are producing? Nobody can tell us. That agency have even gone quiet. They are not as active during the Buhari period. They are not active anymore.
Allocations.
Take billions of naira, but now nobody's hearing about it. So for me, in the area of food, government must play active role in producing food and farming food and giving it to Nigeria. Then in the area of other policies that will help, particularly energy, if the refinery are not working, there's no way we can solve the problem of transportation costs.
Yes.
Even the CNG
that
issue
also has effect on the food.
Exactly. Even the CNG thing that the government is so proud of, they are going to launch it in the next one month now. But that's what the president is saying. If they are not active on that CNG production in terms of the gas that is going to need, energy is there. Another Nigerian gas aggregated company under NNP is also there. If they are not active in terms of bringing this gas from our local refinery, it will not help, because most times they will depend on importation, and importation also cause one of the high cost of what we are facing. Then the other aspect has to do with how government ensure that they work with states, because there's also a disconnection between the state government and the federal government. Most of the policies that government normally encourage states to go into, the state on their own, they use politicization to kill those policies. They only use sentiment to apportion those policies in terms of the benefit. So until we be able to remove all this bureaucracy and some of this sentiment that we normally allow to happen in our policy implementation, then we may not have a report. If we can do, as I earlier pointed out, then the Nigerian government and Nigerian people will enjoy the benefit of the government of the day.
Thank you so much. And lastly, as if it was an icing on the cake for this present administration, we saw the President Tinubu signing into law the reinstatement of the old national anthem. And there has been so many notes following this gesture. Many Nigerians said as if the federal government sees it as if it will immediately return Nigeria to a country of Eldorado.
Exactly.
So what are your views?
And for me, it was I didn't disparate my energy on it as much as others.
Me too.
Because this particular national anthem, for those of us that passed through the Nigerian Association of Nigerians today, that went through this leftist movement, radical group, these are the items that we normally recite. Exactly. These are the items we recite. So it has always been there. And it is quite inspiring when we sing it and when we make some use of the word God. It has to do with patriotism, But on the other hand, where I felt that Nigerians were not happy was that the kind of alacrity that National Assembly put in ensuring that this go through just 1 week is where Nigerians are angry. We have, urgency on economic issues, on food, on security, on water, and on energy. National Assembly have never done 1 week and ensure that such law could be created to allow Nigerians to enjoy such things. But on this particular one that is so frivolous, that has nothing material attachment to it. Why is it like that?
And so many Nigerians are saying that if it's that, since they have returned the old national anthem, they should also return the old exchange rate. They also return the old purchasing power of Nigerians.
Definitely, if they can do that, but I doubt if they can do it, because the driving force behind the current government is diversification of our revenue away from foreign revenue. And the only thing they can think of now is tax. And tax is giving them the money. See, the government is earning. They are earning. The last FAC allocation that they got was that it's just that Nigerians are not paying attention to state government. State governors are getting plenty money now. They are even getting more than federal government. But because our focus has been on federal government, nobody is looking at what the states are getting. And that's why the state governors will make away with this money. They will steal the money. They will not use it for productivity development sake. So my concern is that even though we want purchasing power to be returned, let us also put our eye on state government. What are they doing with the money they are getting? That is very, very important for us at this point.
Okay, so what do we expect in the next 3 years of Bola Tinubu's administration?
It will still be high taxes, high revenue for the government. But what they will use the money for, to be able to change the narrative around the economy of Nigeria, that's what we cannot do. Because the more tax, the more government drive to increase tax, to run after revenue, the more it will impact the economy, particularly the microeconomy from the macroeconomy level. And these are the areas that Nigerians will think. And when we talk about the macroeconomy level, macroeconomy, the macro talk about the giant aspect of the sector. Then the micro talk about the household and the rest of them. So when government increase tax, when government is after revenue, businesses who normally pay those revenue to government will transmit the cost of paying that revenue onto us, and that's how we suffer it. But when government use that revenue effectively to tackle certain things in the society, then we have a relief for it.
All right, thank you so much, my public affairs analyst and viewers out there. This is where we draw the curtain on today's program Inside Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program, Olamileko Adefolare. I look forward to having you same time because there is a running program. Nigeria is just marking 1 year anniversary of this present administration in office. And I've had the pleasure of having with me a political economist and also a public affairs analyst, Olamileko Adefolare. My name is Winifred, but don't forget to join us same time, same station tomorrow. I remain blessed. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.